Well, welcome again. This video will go over worksheet 4.6a, and what we're doing with these problems is graphing equations using the slope-intercept form of a line. And let me just review a couple of items with you real quick before we begin. The slope-intercept form of a line is y, meaning a y-coordinate, m meaning the slope, the x-coordinate plus b. And we know these are going to be specific numbers that we find out, and they'll be specific numbers generated by manipulating any linear equation that we're given. Y and x will remain as variables, and again m and b will contain constant numbers. So let's go ahead and do problem A. It says rewrite each equation in slope-intercept form, list the y-intercept and the slope, and we'll do that. Here is the slope, here will be the y-intercept. And then it says graph the equation by plotting the y-intercept and counting the slope. List 4 additional integer points found on the line. Now some of these may have 4, you can find 4 additional points, sometimes you can't. So list as many as you can up to 4. So we're going to go ahead and do this one, and we know that the first thing that we do, this isn't in standard form, but it's really close. So we always want to get rid of the x term, move it to the other side. So here I have a positive 16x, so I want to subtract it from each side. And then we know that that goes to 0, so it's gone. So my new equation is a negative 6y equals a negative 16x minus 48. And we know that the commutative law of addition says I can change these orders here, so that's okay to do that. Now we go ahead and we're going to divide by the coefficient of y, or the number in front of y, so we're going to divide by a negative 6 to everything. And then we're going to simplify what we have left. So my final equation is a negative 16 divided by a negative 6. Well, the top divides by 2 and the bottom divides by 2. So that slope should be 8 over 3. And let's see, let me back up here a minute. Probably losing some of you. So we've got y equals, this simplifies to 8 over 3x. 2 divides the top, 2 divides the bottom. 2 divides 16 by 8, 2 divides 6 by 3, and we know we have 2 negatives here, so this number now becomes positive. 48 divided by 6 is 8, and again I have 2 negatives here, so it will make that number positive. So there is this equation now in slope-intercept form. So we know that this number in front of the x is the slope, so that slope is 8 over 3. We know the y-intercept is 8, so that point has to be 0 and 8. So now to graph this, we're going to go ahead, it says graph the equation by plotting the y-intercept. So we're going to plot the y-intercept, so it's 0 on the x and up 8 on the y. So there's the point 0 and 8. And then it says plot it by counting the slope. So this slope says I go up 8 and to the right 3. Well, I can't go up 8 or to the right 3, but I can do this. I can go down 8 and then I can go to the left 3. So we'll go down 8, to the left 3, down 8, to the left 3. So on this line I can actually see 3 points. Well, let's list those 3. We've got 0 and 8. This point here is the x-intercept, so that looks like that is a negative 3 and 0. And this point down here looks like a negative 6 and a negative 8. Now if my graph was bigger, I could go ahead and find another point way down here. So now we want to graph it. Draw the line through the ordered pairs. So there we go. There's line A. Okay, now let's go ahead and let's jump down and let's do problem D here. We do it the same way. So I'm going to, it's a negative 15x for the x terms, so I'm going to add 15x to each side. So I know that's gone, and I'm going to take a little bit of a shortcut. I know this is the number in front of the y, so I'm going to divide everything by a negative 10. So now that becomes a positive 1y, so I end up with y equals, that is 15 over a negative 10. And then I have a positive 30 over a negative 10. So now we can go ahead and simplify this. Well, if I look here, 5 divides the top, 5 divides the bottom. So now this equation becomes a negative 3 over 2. 5 divides 15 3 times. 5 divides 10 2 times, and I just put the negative, one negative sign out front. Now I know 30 is divided by 10 3 times, and I know this will be a negative 3, so I'm going to move that negative out in front. So there's my equation. Don't forget our x there. So y equals a negative 3/2 x minus 3. So my slope is the number in front of the x term, so that'll be a negative 3 over 2. And then my y-intercept, remember the x is always 0 on the y-intercept, so this y-intercept is 0 and a negative 3. So let's go ahead and plot our y-intercept, and then we'll count the slope. Now this says I go down 3 to the right 2. So I go down 3, because it's a negative going down from the y-intercept, and I'll go to the right 2. So we plot a negative 3. I go down 1, 2, 3 to the right 2, so there's 1 point. Down 1, 2, 3 to the right 2. And now to get my 4th point, I'm going to reverse this counting. I'm going to go up 3 for a positive 3, and to the left a negative 2 for a negative 2. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Wow, and there's the x-intercept. I'm going to actually do it again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. See how these all form that line? I can keep going if I want. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So on this graph I actually see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 integer points that go along with this equation right here. So let's go ahead and do our graph, or plot our line. So there's 1 point, there's the other point. So that is line D. Now let's go ahead and let's list at least 4 integer points that go along with this. Well, we know we've got 0 and a negative 3, because that's the y-intercept. Well, what's this point here? It looks like it's 2 and a negative 6. If I come over to this point here, that point is 4 and a negative 9. Now I need one more point. Well, I can come up here and I can get the x-intercept, can't I? So that's a negative 2 and 0. So that's how you go ahead and do these. You can refer back to the notes or refer back to the video for help. Maybe reading the notes and then watching the video should help you qualify, be able to get these done. Let's go ahead. I'm going to do one more. Let's go ahead and do question C. So we've got a negative 21y plus 15x equals a negative 105. So I always take care of the x term first, so I'm going to subtract it from each side. That's gone. And then now I'm going to divide everything by negative 21. So that becomes 1y, so just y. And then if I look here at the x term, 3 divides the top and 3 divides the bottom. 3 divides 15 5 times. 3 divides 21 7. And because I have two negatives, a negative divided by a negative is still a positive, so that becomes 5 over 7 times x. A negative 105 divided by a negative 21, well, that 21 goes into 105 5 times, and I have a negative divided by a negative makes that 5 positive. So now we find our slope, and remember, looking up here, the slope is the number in front of the x, so that slope is 5 over 7, and then the y-intercept is 0 and 5. So we'll go ahead and graph this. We start counting at 5 on the x-axis, or the y-axis. So I'm going to do this one in blue. So we start here at 5, and this says I count up 5, and then to the right 7, right? Because they're both positive. Positive is going up, positive is going to the right. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I count over 7, so that would be the point right there. And now I go down 5, that's for a negative 5, and back a negative 7, because I know a negative 5 over a negative 7 is still a positive slope. So there's my 3 points. So I can't get the fourth one because my graph isn't big enough, but I can get these 3. So I've got 0 and 5. I've got, looks like, the x-intercept of a negative 7 and 0. And then I have this point up here. It looks like it is 7 and 10. And then I can't find my other point because my graph isn't large enough. So let's go ahead and graph this last point, or this last equation here. Graph the line through there. And then that is line C. Now when we correct this assignment, you'll be given 1 point for that, you'll be given 1 point for that, and then you'll be given 1 point for the equation, and you'll be given 1 point for the graph. So there'll be 8 problems on the front, so 8 times 4 is 32, so there's 32 problems on the front, there's 32 problems on the back. So that's a total of 64 raw points scored. So you can get a lot of practice with this worksheet. So that's the end of this video. Thanks for tuning in, and have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.